For part 2 of lecture, and we left off last time with the development and expansion of presidential power. And power and success of the presidency is dependent on the nature and the person of the office. We'll talk about establishing presidential authority, and the first three presidents kind of set the tone for who came after them: George Washington, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson, right, he chose to step down after 2 terms, setting a precedent, which stood until FDR in the 1930s. John Adams, poor leadership skills. It probably hastened the development of political parties, right? Very partisan man. And Jefferson expanded the role of the president and Congress and expanded the idea of the inherent powers through the Louisiana Purchase, right? Probably not too much evidence there that he had constitutional authority to do that, to sign off on that, but nevertheless he did, and the rest is, history. Incremental expansion of presidential powers, 1809 to 1833. Despite these precedents set by these early incumbents of the presidency, Congress remained the heavyweight, if you will. From Jefferson to FDR, Congress was the most powerful branch of government. Very few presidents during this period really expanded the powers of the office. Andrew Jackson expanded the electorate, campaign stops and on trains and rallies, so forth. Lincoln fought the Civil War and took a number of kind of questionable acts, including ignoring Congress while pursuing the war. Had some guys questionably jailed. Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson also expanded the powers of the offices somewhat. Besides these few, most presidents limited their conduct to the enumerated powers flowing from the Constitution. So in the 20th century, the presidency has become even more powerful, beginning with FDR, who served 4 terms during two huge national crises, the Great Depression and World War II. When FDR took office in 1933, the country was in the grip of the Great Depression. FDR asked for a huge grant of power to address the emergency from Congress, and he got it. He created a New Deal, a series of programs to invigorate the economy, mostly through government spending. And then there's some things here on the vice president. As the powers of the presidency grew, so did the vice presidency. They're basically chosen for a few reasons: geographical balance of a ticket, political balance, and some kind of social, cultural balance. First ladies, we have the cabinet, really not mentioned in the Constitution, kind of formulated as the president sees fit. First ladies, assist the president, become informal advisors. Edith Wilson, Elizabeth Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt, Nancy Reagan, Hillary Clinton, Laura Bush, Michelle Obama, probably some of the more influential, stronger first ladies. You have the executive office of the president. That was established by FDR. Then you have the White House staff. I think today there's about, trying to remember how many people are actually in that today. Got up to about 538 members in 1972, but it's been dissolved since then. And then you have the budgetary process, legislative implementation. The president's a policymaker. He's got to win support for his programs. That's usually done via his popularity, right? High approval ratings. Okay. Few presidents win their term if they don't have their approval ratings above 50%. So just kind of wrapping this up here, the presidency, you have the roots of the office we talked about, colonial legislatures versus the King of England and royal governors. The framers feared a strong executive. They wanted strength to the office to govern, not too strong so as to abuse power. So I'm kind of looking right now at the graphic organizer, vested in one single person, the president. Personal qualifications, got to be 35, 14 years a U.S. resident, natural-born citizen. Terms of office, initially a 4-year term with eligibility for re-election. George Washington's precedent, 2 terms, 150 years. FDR, 4 terms. 22nd Amendment set this at 2 4-year terms, or a total of 10 years in office if you're vice president. Checks on president: impeachment, treason, bribery, high crimes, misdemeanors. To be removed from office, you need to have 2/3 of the Senate votes for articles of impeachment, but impeachment does begin in the House. Constitutional powers of the presidency, Article 2, right? It's kind of vague. Executive power vested in president. Appointments with senators, advice and consent. Convenes Congress. We mentioned talk about the State of the Union. Make treaties. 2/3 of the Senate must ratify that. And they have veto power, general vetoes and pocket vetoes. He's the military commander-in-chief, and he has pardoning power. And then development and expansion of presidential power. You have George Washington, served 2 terms, set a precedent. John Adams, probably precedent to political parties. Jefferson, the Louisiana Purchase, right, expanding our country, double the size of it. Then you had your incremental power of presidents, 1809 and 1933, Jackson with the electorate, Lincoln with his prosecution of the Civil War, Woodrow Wilson, Teddy Roosevelt. But generally, presidents have still acted according to the enumerated powers set for them. Modern presidency started with FDR, Great Depression, World War II, 4-year terms, New Deal, gave a lot of leverage to the federal government as a result. So I'm going to have on our course page some comprehension questions to serve as proof there was attendance, and for the various classes, whether you're in Richland or Evansburg, check the updates on how long you have to finish those questions after the lecture. And again, stay tuned to the updates and the upcoming events, and talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.